Hey, y'all. Hey. We are here with Blue Talk Podcast. Afros and Audio 2023. How is it going for you guys right now?
So good. We enjoyed ourselves, and we have talked to everybody on the second floor.
I love it. I love it.
How are you feeling?
Fantastic.
You want to elaborate on that?
Honestly enough, like I really like between like yesterday and today, like I really wanted to make it yesterday, but like I am happy that I came. Everything was really cool. Like it's black.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very black, and I appreciate it.
That's the best part.
Same.
So, what are you guys most excited about, at Afros and Audio?
I'm excited to see other podcasts that look like us. A lot of times when you're an avid podcast listener or YouTube watcher, they push everybody else stuff, the stuff for things that relate to you. So it's exciting to see people who look like you and have similar things going on like you.
How about you?
I love the shared stories. People just like the similarities of things. Like you don't realize how much your story affects somebody else, and how much and vice versa. So I just love the fact that you're not only able to see people, but then it's like you come together like fellowship wise, and it's like you really get a sense of like everything. Like I'm about to say, like, and the fact, like I said, it's black.
Yeah.
Like it's us. Like it's like, and the thing about it is, you just like. You love it. You love on it. And it's like, it's people that I never met. We sat back and had conversations with people that, look, we was supposed to go to the second joint, but like, I'm like, got into a good conversation. That's all that matters at the end of the day. It's like, because it's like, that's people and you never know where those relationships are going to take you in the future. So
We love that.
Absolutely.
So, one thing we're asking every podcast that's here is what's one piece of advice that you would offer to somebody just starting out podcasting?
I'm going to let Cool Blue answer that first.
Okay.
Be authentic to yourself. Because I feel as though like once you kind of tread waters that you don't necessarily know, you start not sounding the part, you start not looking the part, and your audience is gonna tell it off back. At least that's how I feel.
I like that. What about you?
I say be intentional. We started out this podcast really wanting to relate to millennials and things like that, and we have. And also, we knew that once we were growing it, that we wanted to include other Black businesses, and not just Black businesses, but just telling people stories about how hard entrepreneurship can be, but how rewarding it can be. So I would just say, find your tribe and don't let imposter syndrome get you down.
I like that. For sure.
That's kind of been our battle cry. Find your tribe.
Yeah.
For sure. You got to find that community.
So, where can the people find y'all?
Y'all can find us on Blue Talk at youtube.com/Blue Talk. That's BLUTALK. I'm on Instagram at Lady Blue, LADYBLU 1626.
Redfish, bluefish. Charm City Blue, Charm City CITY Blue BLU. Not hard to find.
We love that. Thank you guys for interviewing with us, and thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Hey, y'all. We are back, and we have.
Zayari Zubar.
And what are you here doing today?
I have a podcast network I'm launching in 2024. Just for Black people to go more like a hub. People can go, no contract, and help them monetize and get more things that they're looking for so they can be more focused on being a creator.
Absolutely. So why Afros and Audio?
I've been to like 6 podcast conventions, and this was the last one for this year. So I've been traveling the United States. I've been to Vegas. I've been to Washington, D.C. I've been to Denver, and now I'm here.
I like that. Do you have any questions?
Do you have a podcast?
I'm about to create one because people keep saying, why don't you have a podcast? Why don't you have a podcast? I used to be an engineer, so I used to create other people's podcasts.
Nice.
And so I've created 6 podcasts. From the audio to actually help writing. So I'm actually thinking about creating my own podcast. I'm actually going to do it, but it's going to be video and audio. So
Yeah, that does take a while.
look for that. I don't have a name yet, but look for it.
What is the premise of it? What do you want it to be about?
It's basically about my story coming up as not homeless, but traveling from family member to family member. Doing things I shouldn't have been doing as a teenager, and then eventually never going to college or anything like that, but actually building 4 businesses on my own from scratch and living my life off of those businesses.
Okay,
I
I'm
like
excited
that.
about hearing that.
Yeah, we need to keep in touch for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for interviewing with us today, and we look forward to all your projects.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where can the people find you?
Yes.
You can find me at Zubar Media, ZUBAR dot media on Instagram, or you can find me at Icaro, IIKORO on Instagram. And I have a lot of Instagrams, but those two you can find me on.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello.
Listen, we here with the founder. We found him, and we here with the founder. Jaded and Evolving is here with the one and only.
Talib Jasser.
And sir, you are putting on the 5th annual. You have done this for 5 years. Afros and Audio. How does it feel?
It feels amazing.
Why Afros and Audio?
Um, s- Origin story. Okay, so um, so I was seeking community, right?
Yeah.
And so in 2017, I created a short fiction podcast. It's a limited series called "The Fussings Until One of Us Is Dead." Get it? To death do us part. So I did that in 2017. I was looking for other Black audio creatives around me. I didn't find none. 2017 looked a lot different than does 2021,
Very
where
much.
Black audio dramas exist. That's sitting over there is now a whole directory, right,
Yeah.
of Black audio dramas. So in seeking that community, I started building it, an attempt at building it. Again, wasn't it what it is now? So I pivoted. It was one or two things: you quit, you throw it away, like creatives do, or you hold on to it and you make a decision to pivot, change, because it can be more than the original vision.
For sure.
And so I reached out to a friend of mine just when I was about to ball it up and throw it in the trash, but it was something about the logo, about Afros and Audio that I just felt so connected with. And I think that's a testament to that intuition, that download that the universe gives to you.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just couldn't drop it. So I reached out to a friend. His name was Simeon, and he used to co-host, still may, Mixed Company podcast. And we met in New York, and he said, "Man, why don't you think about events?" And so I was like, it's interesting. But I think he meant a 2-hour meetup, and I left there thinking 2-day conference.
I like it.
And I didn't know how to do a 2-hour meetup or a 2-day conference. But here we are 5 years later. Yeah.
Natasha?
So, do you have a podcast right now?
Me personally, I don't. I'm a podcast producer. So I produce podcasts. I am going to start one in 2024. It's called Grumpy Wisdom, because I'm old and I'm grumpy and I'm wise. So it's called Grumpy Wisdom. But yeah, and I do indie podcast spotlights as much as possible.
Do you like the production side more than being in front?
Oh yeah, if I could be behind this right now doing this interview, I would. I'm not a person who likes to be out in front, but I rise to the occasion. I just avoid the occasions at all possible costs.
Same.
But but here we are. This is an occasion that I must stand beside, because it's important work that we're doing. The podcast industry, and the way it is, it's moving, it's evolving, it's ever changing. And we got to make sure that we are part of it every step of the way.
For sure.
Absolutely.
We thank you so much for having us here, and we thank you for doing this. We thank you for giving Black people, people of color, a space, because podcasting for people of color is not easy. This spectrum that we're on, where we're trying to grow and we're trying to remotely create metrics that even allow us to get the sponsorships and monetization. You have created the learning platform for these people and kind of given them the space to be ignorant safely. That's something that we preach on Jaded and Evolving, is a safe space to not know anything and to gain that. So once again, sir, thank you so much for creating this space, and we look forward to many more years of Afros and Audio.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Natasha from Jaded and Evolving, and I'm here with
Shamiko Reed.
Awesome. And what are you doing here at Afros and Audios?
I joined the Afros and Audio team earlier this year as an assistant, and I helped find the location and plan and everything. This is my first year coming that I'm not speaking, so I'm excited to just absorb the experience and support Talib.
What was your speaking? What were your speaking roles last time?
Last time I was a moderator. the guest recipe, so just interviewing skills. Myself and four other panelists talked about ways to go about procuring guests, grooming that relationship, what questions and how to develop the questions to ask, and then how to go about, the logistics of getting a contract. What do you do if somebody doesn't like it? Things of that nature. So, really, just what it's like to have an interview-based podcast.
Okay, and do you have a podcast?
I do. If my podcast is currently in hiatus. From 2017 to 2022, I interviewed people about their relationship or lack thereof with their father or father figures and how that impacted who they are and how they show up in the world.
So we need to bring that back because
We do. We do. Uh, but yeah, that's what I've done in the past. And it's just been on hiatus because I'm a parent now and I don't have the same time I used to.
I feel that I don't have kids, but my co-host does, and it's a struggle sometimes.
Children, they don't care what you want to do with your life. Like your time is their time. So I'm embracing that. A lot of people feel very frustrated, and I am one of those people who has felt very frustrated by that. But I think my generation had a lot of people who grew up with their parents working to be providers, and I'm working to be present. And so it's like I don't mind that I don't have time to do something that I like because I'm making sure that I have time to groom somebody that I love. I want them to have a good relationship with me. I want them to feel like their childhood involved a parent that paid attention to them and cared about what they cared about and made time for them. So I'll get my time back eventually.
When they get like 18, 19 off to college or something like that.
I mean, my friends said like 8 years old. So like once they get to like regular school and they can, I mean, my 3-year-old can dress themselves and they don't really like me to help them. They're very independent, but they also are 3, and so they want you to watch them color or color with them and stuff like that. So it's like, by the time they're 8, they already told me the other day not to call them their nickname in front of their friends. So I might not have to wait to 8 for them to not care about my presence. But yeah, that's my current investment.
Hey, y'all. We are here with.
Sambaza, and I have the podcast by the name Sambaza Podcast.
So tell us about it.
Well, Sambaza Podcast is a series based podcast, and we do podcasts regarding any topic that's going to be available or which I think is going to be worthy for our viewers to listen to. So it could be anything from child discipline to sports. I just need a sneakers issue last, and yeah, that's the content that we have.
So why Afros and Audio this year?
Wow, Afros and Audio this year. Actually, I have been presenting for Afros and Audios for the last 3 years.
Wow, okay.
Yes, and this year I decided let me go and see what it's all about in person.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do something, a presentation, but I said let me go see how it is, and then probably better prepare for next year.
I like that. So what's one piece of advice that you have for somebody just starting out in podcast?
Trust yourself. Build your content.
I like that.
And just talk to people, see what you can provide them on whatever topic you want. First research. Once you research it, you'll do a better job, and never ever say that you can't make it, because when you start with your first podcast, I remember my first podcast was like whack.
Yeah.
But 10 episodes later, when I look back, I can say, you know what, there's some improvement. So always know that there's going to be improvement. You have to start somewhere.
I really like that advice. Where can the people find you?
Well, they can find me on any socials, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook still. TikTok.
Okay.
And any of all the socials that you find me at. Not Snapchat.
Okay.
We ain't gotten there yet. But most it's going to be a Sambaza podcast. That's where you find the podcast itself. And yeah, feel free to join in. And my people are called Wasambazaji.
Okay.
So Sambaza means to spread.
Oh, okay.
So when I'm talking to my listeners, the listeners there are called Wasambazaji. So they spread the word for me.
I like that.
So
I love
that's
that.
how it is.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for interviewing with
Thank
us
you too,
today,
Natasha.
Sambaza.
All right.
Hey, this is Christian from Jaded and Evolving Podcast, and I'm here with
Tiago.
Tiago. And Tiago, you are the representative from Overhaul FM?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your product, your service.
Yeah, absolutely. So Overall FM is a podcast app. And it is, I want to say, different from all the other apps,
Mhm.
but it really isn't. What makes it different is the fact of who it's targeting.
Okay.
So we have users in various areas, Mexico, China, Spain, the UK.
Mhm.
What we want to do is we want to target listeners in those areas.
Okay.
And we want to present them with great podcasts and great content that you're not going to see promoted on other podcast apps.
I like that.
So instead of the Joe Rogans of the world and all that, they don't need more promotion.
Yeah.
What we need is content from people like us,
Yeah.
people who look like us, and Overall FM strives to do that.
Wonderful. So how long have you been with Overhaul FM? How long has Overhaul FM been a thing?
Overall FM's been a thing for about 2 years.
Okay.
So we've been growing. We have a total of over 25,000. Actually, we just hit 26,000 downloads total.
Wonderful.
So we want to continue to grow. We encourage everyone to check it out. It's beneficial to listeners and also podcasters.
So for a podcast like us, Jaded and Evolving, we've only been up for about 15 episodes now. We've been running since July. How can we benefit from Overhaul FM?
Well, you guys are probably already on our app.
Okay.
Just due to our API. But take a look at it. I'd encourage you to encourage your listeners to listen on
For
the
sure.
app. And we also offer promotion services for podcasters.
Okay.
So you can promote your podcast on our app for 7 days, 14 days, or 30 days. We'll put you right at the top.
Wow.
We'll make sure that you get new users and your existing users can access your podcast immediately through our app.
That sounds great, Tiago. Thank you so much for your
No
time. I
problem.
look forward to working with Overhaul FM, and hopefully we
Absolutely.
speak again soon in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am screaming.
Your energy has been everything since I met you over there. How are you? Yes, listen. Nice to meet you. I'm Christian. Nice to meet you. I'm from Jaded and Evolving Pod. And we just want to get some information on you and figure out where we get all this lovely energy from throughout the week. Do you have a pod?
I do. So I'm the host of the Mocha Minutes podcast.
Come on, Mocha Minutes. Yes.
I love how black people react when we say
come
mocha.
on,
Like, yes,
Come on. You know, we like anything with a mocha in it. Coffee, anything.
all of it.
So give us your name and tell us a little bit about your pod and how long you've been doing it.
Ooh, gosh, I'm old. Okay, so my name is Stephanie. I've been doing my podcast actually since 2018.
Okay.
So it is a weekly topical podcast where I talk about current events, my single life, the dating pool has pee in it. I feel like that's going to be my new podcast. The dating pool has pee in it. I don't know if it's going to get blocked or whatever, but also social events, but want to do it from a black woman's purview because when I started, I was under this impression that you didn't see a whole bunch of black woman-led podcasts.
For sure.
And then as soon as you get in it, you're like, oh, I'm not alone.
There you go. Community.
Yes.
Community.
So I'm like, but it also was like, everybody was inspired by the read.
Yeah.
I love the read, but they were not the ones that inspired me to start my podcast.
Yeah.
I was actually inspired by the black guy who tips.
Okay.
So it's like it's a husband and wife. They're from North Carolina. I think he actually was doing a show with Bomani Jones.
Okay.
That was on HBO, and he was on like a feedback show. They have it every Saturday, and he said, "Y'all have a lot of opinions." I think he's like, "If you have a lot of opinions, maybe you should start a podcast." And I'm like, you know how you're sitting in church, and like the pastor's talking to a whole group of people,
But you feel like
but it's like he's
Yep.
telling me, and I'm like, oh, so I guess he's talking to me. And then I found out there's like. Sometimes when you're talking on the mic, you're like, oh, I'm yelling to the void.
Yeah.
And then you find out, I'm like, oh, I love your podcast. Wait, where did you
You
hear
hear
that?
me? Exactly.
I'm like, mind you, you're like, I'm editing, I'm putting out a podcast. You're like,
Yeah.
wait, how'd you hear about my podcast? They're like, are you serious right
Because
now?
you put it up. Yeah.
They're like, you do realize it's on the internet. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. But it's always interesting when you come to place, especially like this, we're like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, I like your podcast. I'm like, wait, what?
And now you're here. So we're glad to have you. So we are actually asking people, especially those who have been tenured in podcasting, what's one piece of advice you would give to a new podcaster?
Just start. Stop waiting
I like
for
that.
the moment of, I got to have this, and this. I'm like, baby, just start.
Absolutely.
If you are starting on your phone with the earbuds that you're given with your iPhone, baby, it's fine. You will be amazed how well the sound actually sounds.
Yeah.
But stop waiting for everything to be in perfect alignment before you start. Because anybody who's been doing this for a while, they were
We
like,
know.
no. It's like, oh yeah, are you kidding me? My smoke alarm was beeping in the background.
Yep.
My mic wasn't plugged up.
That's what makes you human, though. That I think
Right.
there's a human experience in podcasting too that a lot of people lose sight of.
Because if you start at perfection or the top level, there's nowhere for you to go.
Yeah, see, now you're preaching.
It's
Now
like,
you're
baby,
preaching.
you got to evolve and mature.
Absolutely.
Especially like, and you come in also your voice. There's so many people who started thinking one way, and by the time they're like year 5, I'm like, I can't believe I used to say that.
Now I already follow you, but where can the people find you?
So you can find me I'm so glad they retired podcasting with SoundCloud. I'm like, that's for rappers and DJs, y'all. It's like, baby, that's not for podcasting. I hate to tell you. But you can find me everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, same handle, Mocha Minutes. You can find the show everywhere: iHeart, Spotify, Apple Pod,
Spreaker, Stitcher. I'm telling you,
everything.
she's everywhere.
I am everywhere.
Get with it.
Except for SoundCloud. Again, rappers and DJs.
Only.
But there's some really good ones on there.
We love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, this is Christian from Jaded and Evolving, and I'm here with...
Pablo Alarcon Jr.
Okay, and what are we doing here at this table today?
So I am here as a representative for the Many Lumens podcast with Maori Karma Holmes. She is a filmmaker and cultural worker based in Philadelphia right now. And essentially the Many Lumens podcast is spotlighting artists, filmmakers, and cultural workers. And the point of the podcast is really just to find the intersections between art, pop culture, and social change.
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that. So how long have you been listening to podcasts?
So I've been listening to podcasts, for as long as I've had an iPhone. So I guess since like junior year. Yeah, it's starting with like The Read and like listening to NPR and stuff. Yeah.
So what's one thing that you wish more podcasters knew?
More podcast listeners? Sorry, that question, I wasn't prepared for that question. More podcast listeners knew. I guess
Specifically about what you're doing here at this table.
Got you. Specifically what I'm doing here at this table. I guess that there is a whole from podcast to podcast, there can be as little as maybe only 2 people working on a podcast, as well as have an entire team behind it, and understanding that podcasts show up in different sort of levels of finish,
For sure.
I would say,
Yeah.
and that is sometimes representative of the sort of the resources that are given to
Absolutely.
each podcast.
No, I feel
Yeah.
that 100%. I think it's something that more people don't know about, especially when it comes to people of color, even Black people in general, about podcasting is the lack of resource, sometimes just by lack of education. So I think that it's great just, kind of creating that community, having something sweet here to kind of draw the people and to have the educational tools in order to sustain it. I thank you so much for interviewing me.
Hey, thank you very much.
Have a good one. Hey, y'all. We are here with Kelechi. Hi, nice to meet you. So you just wrapped up a wonderful conversation regarding really we're catching the gist of it because we're over there interviewing. Yeah. So Black people in the UK and podcasting overall.
Yes.
So why Afros and audio?
Because I think that it's important for us all to connect.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much power, there's so much energy and magic in Blackness, and unless we hear each other's stories, unless we know that we're here and that we're not alone, then how do we move forward and elevate in the way that we need to elevate? So Afros and audio was the perfect way to connect with like-minded people who are doing similar things, and we're all clearly trying to shift the narrative. So why don't we see and hear each other and kind of move in the same direction?
We love that. Thank you so much for being here. Natasha, did you have anything?
How long have you been podcasting?
I've been podcasting since 2017.
Wow.
How is podcasting back then different from now?
There's a lot more to do, in terms of that, even having the visuals and stuff. So trying to stay on top of visuals, trying to look cute for the episodes, but sometimes I don't manage it. I'm so sorry.
Same.
I will show up to the studio with some sweatpants on. I don't got time.
It has to be. It is what it is.
Yes.
Because they're there for what we have to say and what we think, not necessarily what we're looking like that day.
Right.
And I'm sure they know that we're cuties.
And authenticity is the most important part.
It's so important. I think people feel seen on those days when we don't do ourselves all the way up. They feel seen because they're like, I have those days too. And I came here for what you are about, your energy, not necessarily what you're wearing today.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank
We
you
love
so
that.
much.
Thank you. Hey guys, we are here with yet another amazing speaker, and we are here with
Bernard Achampong, and I am what am I now? I'm the head of creative development for Unedited, which is a production company in the UK.
Wonderful. So why Afros and audio?
So one of the things that we've been looking to do with the Brexit market doing work in Europe a lot smaller, is looking outside our continent to see where else there are similarities in terms of audience, in terms of resources. So we look at the US because as people who identify as Black, there are people who have a Black history in the US. There's also Africa, there's also the Caribbean as well. So we're looking to actively partner with people who are on those continents to get our content made.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. And you guys had such a great conversation here today. We thank you for being here and for sharing your insight and all of your knowledge. And we hope that there are so many amazing things that happen and that the momentum keeps growing with you guys. Natasha, did you have any questions? All right. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a good one. Hey, we are here with the Black Podcasters Association and we are speaking with
Corey Gums. I am the founder of the Black Podcast Association.
So tell us about the Black Podcasters Association and why you got started.
Well, it's an online community for Black podcasters and professionals in the industry. We do trainings. It's a true community. A lot of our members are here today, but everybody support each other. They're here to help each other become better at what they do. We also advocate for Black podcasters in the industry. How we got started was started as a Facebook group, and at the time when I started it was trying to create a safe space for Black podcasters because I was seeing conversations that were just going like left or right, and I wanted a space where we can come together, be ourselves, support each other, learn from each other. So, and then evolved into this wonderful online community we have today.
I love to hear it. So what's one thing you wish more people knew about Black podcasts?
That it's not monolithic, that there are a bunch of creators out here doing various different topics. They're doing there's a lot of great content out there that doesn't get the shine because it's not a hot topic or it's not the most popular topic amongst Black listeners. So they're struggling to get traction. So I just want people to know that, we as a culture are not monolithic, and neither is our content that we create.
I like that. That's dope. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms. Because our name is so long, we have different ones, but you could do a search for Black Podcast Association. You can also go to www.getbpa.com and you can get membership for 2 months for free. Or
come on now, 2 memberships.
Or because sometimes it doesn't work all the time. But you can go to https:// Black Podcasters Association, or just do a Google search.
Thank you for your time. Hey, y'all. So we are here with
Armand Jennings, Armand AJ Jennings. Either one is fine.
And what do you have going on at your table today?
So today we have Black Audio Dramas Exist. We're basically here promoting Black audio dramas because people may not know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically just a movie with your eyes closed. You know, you get to hear and see everything in your head, but you hear the voice actors, the sound effects, music, and all that stuff to make a story just by audio.
So we haven't actually had anybody to talk about audio dramas yet. So are there a few that you could recommend to the people?
Yeah, sure. We have some up here right now, actually. Some of them are Kiss, the drama series. There's Out of the Ashes. That's more of a horror-based audio drama. Then we have A Harlem Queen, which is about an actual historical figure, Harlem Queen. I don't know. I'm trying to remember her name, but it's on here too. And those are just 3 of the really good ones that I know of.
Wonderful. So before we get out of here, why Afros and audio this year?
I think it's really important to make connections with as many people as possible that look like me, look like us.
Yeah.
All together, because unfortunately, there's not a lot of us that know that we are out there and that we exist. So even with like Black audio dramas or with podcasting in general, I think it's good to know that other people are here to support you.
That's great. That's great. Where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram. My handle is AJXAsexSoul, or AJ the Soul Engineer, both on Instagram and on Twitter.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So I am here with
Akila Tompkins Robinson.
Nice to meet you, Akila. Nice to meet you. So tell us a little bit about your business.
So SEO Assist is a software company that helps you do the work of SEO. So it has a bunch of like little assistants in it. It has a writing assistant that helps you create content. It has an idea and research assistant that helps you come up with ideas for what to create the content about.
Wow.
It has a podcast assistant that helps with show notes, pitch letters for people who want to get backlinks. So all the things, or a lot of the things that you need to do to actually do the work, as opposed to just telling you what to do, we actually help you do it.
Wonderful. So do you podcast?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is the Girl Get Visible podcast.
Okay.
And before y'all go and watch it, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little wayward, right? So there's a couple of months missing, but I do podcasts and it's Girl Get
Wonderful.
Visible
So do
podcast.
you use the SEO assist for your company?
Absolutely.
And how's it benefited you?
A lot, because I do SEO. I've written a book on SEO, and so all of our episodes are driven using like the same show notes formula. Now we're using a lot, like today I'm showing people the interview questions, but we use the interview questions the topic idea. So everything that we do, we have some repurposing. It's a repurpose assistant.
Yeah.
So we have some repurposing features. So my staff is able to like take my words and take what I said and turn it into our social posts.
Wow.
Turn it into our other platforms like TikTok videos. And
Yeah.
things like that. So overall, we use the tool in our day-to-day workflow because it helps us to do the work.
Absolutely. This is wonderful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.